Alright, I promise this is going to be a build video, but what I want to show you before I start is why I'm building this bird feeder. So follow me over here. Take a look at this. You see that? You see all that? You know what that is? That's all bird seed and sunflower seed that got thrown on the floor of my gazebo here, because there was no place to put the bird seed, so the birds just eat it off the floor. Well, what a mess it makes, right? And look at this, it's even growing. Oh, I'm embarrassed to even show you this, but I'm showing it to you anyways. So anyway, that's the reason I'm building this bird feeder. So now you've seen that, and let's get to it. So I'm going to be using this wood called Red Grandis. It's supposed to be pretty good for outdoor use, so we're going to find out on this project. So here I'm just taking some narrower boards and gluing them up into a wider board so I can make my project. And now I'm just scraping off some of that dried glue and then wiping off the dust, planing down the board, getting it smooth, and then cutting it down to size with my crosscut sled. And here I'm just laying out some cuts for this piece I'm making, this end panel for this bird feeder, and here I am cutting it out on the bandsaw. And here I'm drilling some holes into this end panel, and you're going to see here how these lead to slots that I'm going to be cutting into this end panel on the scroll saw, and then just doing some finishing sanding and routing on this thing to get the edges cleaned up the way I want them. And here I am cutting another panel on the table saw, and this is going to become the front and rear panels of the bird feeder. Doing some more layout here and doing some more cutting and drilling. Back on the router table to round off the corners, the edges of that panel. And doing some more cutting. Now this piece is actually going to become the base of the bird feeder. So here I am cutting off the corners. And then I'm drilling some holes. These are going to also become slots eventually. And here I finally get to test fit something. I'm putting the end panel into those slots that I put into the base. Fit pretty nice. And then I'm putting a rabbit on the base. It's going to receive some pieces you're going to see here shortly. Alright, now I'm cutting some narrower boards on the miter saw, and these are going to end up becoming the ledges for the base of the bird feeder. And here I am on the table saw cutting some grooves, and then those grooves are going to fit up to that rabbit that I cut on the base. Alright, so I've got all these pieces ready to glue up, so let's do it. Alright, so it lines up pretty good, you can see. Not perfect, but pretty good. And I'm going to take this strap here and use it to hold everything together. All right. Okay, now we're actually going to glue these end panels in place. So I got the glue on there, and in they go. There. All right, let's see how we did here. Take these clamps off. All right, look at that. Okay, now I've got this other glued up board that I'm going to use to make the roof pieces. So here I'm laying out the end panel shape and then cutting them out on the bandsaw. And now I'm resawing some boards on the bandsaw to get them down to the thickness I need for the roof panels. Alright, so this is what I got after I finished resawing these boards that I had and then planing them down. So they started out as 13/16 thick, so I was shooting for 3/8 thick for these boards, so I didn't have any room to play with. And so what happened is some of them ended up, I didn't clean up completely, and I think that's not going to be a big deal because I'll be able to mount them so that the good side is facing out and the inside won't really matter that much. And now I'm just taking those boards and I'm cutting them down to width. So I'm going to use this 1/2-inch dowel bar and I'm going to route that through here. I'm going to use that to get everything lined up. So here's the roof end panel. Slide that on there. Here's the other end panel. All right. So now I'm going to take some of these roof slats. So I don't know if you could see that in my last shot, but I've got a bevel cut on both sides of these pieces, and it's the same angle as the roof is at. So I'm going to end up where this bevel at the top is going to be horizontal when it's all installed. So now it's just a matter of gluing up those panels and putting them in place. So after I let that dry, I turned it around and I'm going to work on the other side. So for this side, I found that if I take this metal bar and wedge it underneath the pivoting roof, I can get it to sit just the right angle so that I can get those panels glued into place without any trouble. And after I let that side dry, I could see that my assembly was pretty much working the way it should. All right, next thing I'm going to do is make some windows. This is going to be for the sight window to see how much bird seed is left in the bird feeder. Just going to lay it out. And I'm just using a bead of silicone caulk here to bond these windows into place. So there's the left side and the right side. Alright. So I made this ridge cap piece to cover the top here. It's got these bevels on it, so I'm just going to glue that on. So in order to hold it in place, I think I'm just going to put these weights on it, try to balance them as best I can. All right, let's let that dry. All right, let's see how we did. Take these weights off. Yeah, looks pretty good, huh? Nice. I like it. I like it. Now I'm going to have to build a stand for this bird feeder. Otherwise my new job will be called official bird feeder holder.